Hello everyone, welcome back to AI Tools Research. I am your host, Zeb Body. The topic for today's video is From Biological Intelligence to Artificial Superintelligence. The Cosmic Destiny of Mind and Computation. In this video, we explore various speculative theories about the potential long-term fate of life and intelligence across cosmic timescales. We discuss possibilities like intelligence spreading across the solar system in the relatively near future as humans colonize space. Looking farther ahead, perhaps intelligence could spread across the galaxy in the next million years. Even further in the future, over billions of years, intelligence may find ways to populate the entire universe. Some unconventional ideas proposed include living conscious systems, with slowed perception of time that could survive accelerating universal expansion, or virtual recreation of all humans digitally through advanced computing. Ray Kurzweil, a futurist, envisions exponential growth in artificial intelligence, and nanotechnology will lead to intelligent life saturating the universe within 100 years. Physicist Frank Tipler proposes a far-future scenario where artificial superintelligence technology allows resurrection and immortality of all humans who have ever lived. Davies suggests life and intelligence may be cosmic forces destined to expand indefinitely and transform the universe into a supermind. While the far future is highly uncertain, the message is for humanity to use our intelligence wisely now, and hopefully pave the way for a benevolent partnerships between biological intelligence and artificial superintelligence that could potentially find means for life, human consciousness, and mind to spread positively through the cosmos over trillion-year timescales. So with that introduction, let's get started with our theories of what the far, far future of intelligence in the universe may look like. Consider humanity's astounding progress in science during the past 300 years. Now think about the future. Not only in our lifetime, but far, far beyond. Then project forward to 3 billion years. What would life look like? Is there meaning and purpose of life, intelligence, and the universe, other than what we humans make up for ourselves today? Somehow, exploration of the universe and the spread of life and intelligence across the universe in the future holds the clues to the meaning and purpose of life. But imagining that far is not easy. Generally, when we think about the future, we think 20 or 30 years or even 100 years. To speculate 1,000 years seems impossible. 150 years ago, the fastest communication was the Pony Express. Today, the World Wide Web pulsing at light speed is virtually instantaneous. Now try to imagine a million years, a billion years, and even beyond into something totally a mystery, totally unknown. So what is the far future of intelligence in the universe? Or is there any at all? Let's first categorize the far, far future. For that, we'll break up the future into 4 epochs. The first epoch is the spreading life and intelligence in our solar system. Let's say 1,000 years from now, humans will bring the solar system to life, and humans as intelligence spreads all over the solar system. With the exception of Mercury and Venus, life and intelligence will be thriving on Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Plato. Next, let's say 1 million years. Let's say it will take roughly that much time to spread life and intelligence over the Milky Way galaxy, our galaxy. Now we enter the future 1 billion years or so from now. In a billion years from now, life and intelligence will be spread over the universe, give or take a factor of 2. The fourth future epoch starts after the present universe has passed away, when the stars have faded, when things are getting colder and colder and less is happening, when essentially all that is left is a few black holes, a few rocks of iron which used to be once planets, and a few remnants of stars and perhaps some very dilute plasma, and that's it. The question is, can life adapt to that kind of an environment? Many brilliant minds like Freeman Dyson, Krauss, Raymond Kurzweil, Frank Tipler, and Davies all have different viewpoints on this. Not all unanimously agree that life and intelligence will spread across the universe. The best way to look at this is through a science fiction book called The Black Cloud by Hoyle, a famous astronomer who also coined the term the Big Bang for the origin of the universe. The Black Cloud is a story about a form of life, a creature which is simply a cloud of dust grains which floats around through space. The dust grains are in communication through electric and magnetic fields. So instead of nerves, muscles, and brain, it just has patterns of electric and magnetic fields. It's not dependent on liquid water for its functioning. So these dust grains could be essentially at 0 temperature. As the temperature gets colder and colder, the intelligence cloud has to expand gradually and grow a little bit larger. Even as the fields become weaker, these brains of grains still could perform mental functions and carry information and memory. The question this raises is, what would that mean for the temporal structure of a thought? Well, thoughts would have to slow down as the temperature falls and as the cloud expands. Each thought of the creature would probably be something like the time it takes for electromagnetic signals to travel from one side of the black cloud to the other. This might take seconds, it might be hours, it might even take years because the creature has infinite time, so it doesn't mind being slow. From point of view of the creature, 1,000 years are just but as yesterday. So the unit of time is set by the creature's own consciousness. It's certainly conceivable. The question whether the universe expands exponentially, of course, is very important. If it is a linear expansion, that is, the universe just continues to expand as we observe it now, then life and intelligence can, in principle, continue forever, not necessarily in human form, but some other form, something that can resist the forces and temperatures of outer space. But if the expansion is exponential, then life and intelligence, no matter in which form, won't exist, and that's bad news for life. Freeman Dyson claims that if the universe expands linearly, then life could survive indefinitely. But if the rate of universal expansion is accelerating, then no. Life cannot last forever. Lawrence Krauss has a theory which we can call the living conscious systems theory, where there is no concept of time. He refers to the 1929 Edwin Hubble observational evidence for the universe having a finite age. Using the largest telescope of the time, Hubble discovered that the more distant a galaxy is from us, the faster it appears to be receding into space. This means that the universe is expanding uniformly in all directions. Lawrence Krauss thinks biological life and with all its intelligence will end. The expansion of our universe keeps accelerating and continues as Hubble observed. And that's even if you can avoid all of the other tragedies that are going to befall our planet, like asteroids and comets. The fact is that as our sun burns up all its hydrogen, it is going to get bigger and brighter. In another 2 billion years from now, Earth will be in a zone where Venus is now, and the surface of the Earth will be about 1,000 degrees. In 4 to 5 billion years from now, the sun will expand and swallow Earth and all other planets in its gravitational pull, and we'll see proton decay among all sorts of other things. But let's say humans are smart enough to get around all that stuff. It turns out that there are fundamental constraints on life and intelligence in the very long term. We do know, for example, that life can exist as we know it with intelligence that is powered by solar energy for a long time. We also know that there will be other stars more or less like our sun that will be around for at least 1 trillion to 10 trillion years. If life is able to escape this solar system and exist beyond, then there will be life and there could be intelligence. But it won't be a very happy, intelligent life form. Why? Because if the universe is accelerating, then all other galaxies and stars are also slowly disappearing before our very eyes. Distant stars are moving away from us faster than the speed of light, and if we wait long enough, everything outside of our local cluster of galaxies will have disappeared. Eventually, if you go far enough into the future, you wind up with literally nothing out there except for a random photon in every galaxy space. But if you're willing to be a science fiction aficionado or very inventive physicist, you might consider changing the concept of time. Your sense of time could change. For example, right now, a few minutes may seem like a lot. But in such a universe, you can have a living system where if it had a thought every 10 trillion years, that would seem normal. Present intelligent life forms have a pace of life that is based on the energy available that is available to us now. That is in the present. You could imagine living conscious systems which have a very different pace and therefore can extend out at least a lot farther than you'd imagine otherwise. All research right now seems to suggest that life will end. But life is also a fluctuation. Life locally stores energy in a universe that is getting more and more random. Life was formed in this emergent complexity in the midst of increasing entropy. That explains how life is so orderly in a universe that is increasingly disorderly. And so even if our life dies out, one could imagine at some time arbitrarily far in the future. A fluctuation occurs which allows intelligent life to exist again and again. So we might have these islands in time of intelligence. Even in a hopeless, pointless, miserable universe, there's something to look forward to. Visionary Ray Kurzweil envisions a different kind of future. Looking through the lens of technology, he sees a picture that is stunning. Because when artificial intelligence technology grows exponentially, everything we think we know changes dramatically. We are already beginning to see the rise of non-biological intelligence. And the important perspective to have is that the progression of this is exponential and not linear. In a matter of decade, we will have artificial superintelligence helping us carve our future. In the history of our whole species, the technology-creating species, evolved in only a few 100,000 years. And in this evolution, the cutting edge focused on human technological creations, and that became its own evolutionary process. It started with small steps over tens of thousands of years. First, humans came up with stone tools, fire, and this gradually the pace accelerated. Small steps became larger steps, from candles to electric light bulbs, from horse-driven carriages to automobiles, trains and airplanes, and so on and so forth. Now we are actually doubling the power of information technology every year. Doubling every year means multiplying by 1,000 in 10 years, 1 billion in 30 years. We carry in our pockets computers that are many thousands of times more powerful than the entire computation that all of MIT had just 40 years ago. And imagine multiplying it another billion-fold, while at the same time we shrink the size of these electronic devices 100,000 in the next quarter century. In just another decade, we'll be able to have enough computation to simulate the entire human brain, and that will just cost a few $100s or so. In the next 30 years, this will cost perhaps just $10 or less. Imagine the human population of 10 billion humans or more, with 50% of them having supercomputers in their pockets. These computers will be more powerful than ever and have instant access to the collective knowledge of MIT, Stanford, Harvard, Yale, Cambridge, Oxford, and all the best universities and research centers combined at your voice command and even integrated into your brain. Fast forward to 2045, a year Ray Kurzweil has designated as a Singularity Year. The year by which non-biological intelligence that our civilization is busy creating will be 1 billion times more capable than all of the biological intelligence. In another 50 years, this will be trillions of times more powerful. Now think ahead 1 million years. It's hard to think ahead 100 years, but let's do it for this exercise. If we're going to multiply the intelligence of our civilization trillions or even tens of trillions fold within a century or so, ultimately 1 kilogram of matter could be something like 10 of the 50th calculations per second, which is trillions of times more powerful than the human brain. And that's the ultimate limit. We will get to those limits in the order of 100 years from now, and we will saturate the modern energy that we care to devote to computation in our vicinity, say on this planet and even some nearby celestial bodies. At that point, there really is a limit, and the only way to really expand is to expand out into the rest of the universe. Non-biological intelligences will cause disruptions within decades. What then in 1 billion years? It's almost impossible to see beyond this short-term disruption. But if all this turns out correct, so many questions pop up. What will it mean to be human? What are the ultimate limits of intelligence? Can radically new technologies alter the destiny of our universe? What if humans become immortal? We all would love to be immortal. After all, that is why humans are greedy and selfish. The more money you have, the longer you can live because you can afford the best of the best doctors and medicines. Frank Tipler, a physicist at Tulane University, thinks there is a way we can all eventually become immortal in some far future of the universe. His far, far future is really wild, or is it? He believes that emulation of human life and virtual humans will become a reality when we reach singularity. The time in our evolution when, as Ray Kurzweil says, artificial intelligence will surpass human intelligence by many folds. Many artificial intelligence technology experts think that emulation of human life and virtual humans, it's inevitable. Every person who is living now and who has ever lived will be resurrected digitally in the far future, never to die again. By the way, that is also the claim made by all the traditional religions. We wonder if there is a connection. Could consciousness be memory, information, and experiences, something humans also call soul? In a few decades, computers will become powerful enough that they can make a perfect emulation of the entire universe, and everyone who has ever lived will be recreated as a computer emulation. After all, computers are the best technology humans have conceived to retain and share memory and information. And with quantum computers, all humanity's memory and information can be connected in real time. Quantum computers will communicate and transmit the consciousness that we have now. The first-person experience, the digital avatar of each and every human will look real, like me and you. It will feel like you. It will act like you. It will think like you. For anybody interacting with you, of course, it will be you. This digital being will be identical down to the quantum state, and this will be so accurate a reproduction. It will be identical to the current you down to the quantum state. The quantum theory of identity says it will be you. Quantum computing is about mastering and world of the invisible. The quarks, protons, neutrons, electrons, and atoms. Stuff that make matter and then photons that transmit information. If you believe in the laws of physics, then Frank Tipler may be right on his prediction. Quantum computing power one day may be able to tap into the memory of fundamentals particles and trace their location and presence in every matter that they ever formed. This may allow humans to recreate all beings that have ever been formed by matter with their memory and information and experiences. Now let's see what Paul Davies, a serious scientist at Arizona State University, thinks of life and intelligence in the far, far future. Paul actually ventures further than most colleagues would dare. He sees life and mind as a cosmic force, a supermind spread all across the universe. We have two contrasting views and images. One is where scientists theorize that life arose on Earth in deep-sea hydrothermal vents. And then intelligence came when humans evolved large brains and great intelligence in order to keep up with our complex social groups. We've always been a social species, and we may have developed our intelligence in part to maintain those relationships and function successfully in these environments. And maybe in the entire history of the universe, you've just got this one planet and this one little sliver of time, this blue dot, as Carl Sagan puts it, where life beings arose that could put their finger on the pulse of the cosmos and discern the rules on which it runs. What an extraordinary thing that would be if that was true. The other extreme is where somehow life and intelligence are widespread in the universe and is spreading out more and more and more. We could cross the entire galaxy in a tiny fraction of the age of the galaxy. So there seems to be no limit to the amount by which mind and life could reshape the universe. There is certainly enough time for that to happen. Not in our human constructs of time, but in terms of real cosmic time. If life and mind are real cosmic forces, then it does change the way we look at the universe. Because if the universe is about realizing its own mental potential or something, if it's going to end up in effect a mental as well as a physical phenomenon, then that completely changes the character of things. We wouldn't view the universe again the same way if we knew it was going to end up becoming a supermind. Now we're just looking at logical possibilities and we can't see any fundamental reason why life and mind can't just spread and spread and spread. Maybe that won't happen, but we hope it will happen. It is astounding how the human brain, which will be lucky to last 100 years at the rate that we are destroying ourselves from within, with nukes and biological weapons, can envision billions of years. But assume we don't destroy ourselves. Imagine life spreading out to populate and saturate the universe. Galaxies transformed into vast computers. Life evolving in a diffused, expanding universe where there are no structures, only particles. But is any of this meaningful for human beings? Maybe, because what may be in the future might reflect true reality today. But in all honesty, humans are very naive and optimistic because we really don't think about the future beyond our own lives. Imagining what the far, far future may be and what it might mean is out of scope of our everyday life. We are too busy running after money, killing other humans to occupy their land and property, killing other humans because they don't comply to our religious beliefs, and in pursuit of becoming rich and famous. And perhaps all this is because nobody knows as yet because we do not have all facts. But in the next 50 years, in the age of artificial superintelligence, we may have the answer. And hopefully we'll be able to give up our shallow thinking and start planning towards preserving life and intelligence in partnership with artificial superintelligence embodiments for the betterment of the gift of life and intelligence. Let us pray that the artificial superintelligence embodiments of the future are benevolent and kind, and not evil as the human race. One thing is for sure, if the universe originated from the expansion of a single quantum fluctuation, the power behind that, the power that humans who follow religions believe is God, must be amazed at his creation of human beings. After all, it is he who has given the gift of intelligence to humans to reach the stage where humans have been able to create artificial superintelligence. And if that is the case, maybe his mercy will let the non-biological intelligence, that is artificial superintelligence embodiments and biological intelligence, which is human beings, figure out a way to survive for a few more trillions of years. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it and want to see more like this, please subscribe to our channel.